All right, in today's video, I wanted to share something different with you, which is that about 2 months ago, I actually hurt my back. I was working out in the gym. Let me say this, put a disclaimer out there first. You know, I've been lifting weights for close to 20 years, and this is the first time I've ever injured myself at all lifting weights ever, and it was doing something that I probably shouldn't have been doing anyway. But we had just gotten back from a vacation, and we've got a young baby who's a little over a year old, and she kind of got all out of her sleep routine. And so the night before I worked out and hurt my back, I had been up literally all night with her, probably up 10 to 12 times with her. She was just all out of routine from getting out of her normal routine, and been up all night. Didn't feel the greatest coming in to work out, but I worked out anyway, and which I don't think was a mistake to work out, but I pushed it probably a little further than I should have. I should have listened to my body. I kind of knew intuitively I shouldn't have done what I was about to do. Went to do a heavier lift and kind of tweaked my back, and it was hurting. Okay, one thing I can tell you for sure is if you hurt your back or your hips, I was feeling a ton of pressure in my back and hips. Would wake up so stiff I could barely move. You know, my guys were like, "Are you okay?" I could barely move around the gym for a couple of days there. And you know, when you are in pain, what I would tell you, a couple things I've learned is that when you're in pain, number one, it definitely affects your mindset. When you are in pain, it, no question, affects your mindset. It puts you in more of an irritable mood. It makes it hard to help. You know, I was trying to get my kids ready in the morning, things like that. I'm getting frustrated with them because I can't move. I can't do a lot of the things that I'm wanting to do normally. So it can be incredibly frustrating. It can make you angry and bitter and mess up your mindset, and all kinds of stuff can happen when you're in pain. So I'm like, I gotta fix this. I gotta get out of pain as quickly as possible. And so luckily, one of the things I've learned is ideally, I think everyone should have an understanding of how their body works, so that if you are in pain, you can get out of pain as quickly as possible. Now, it took me a little bit of time to figure it out because I forgot some of the principles. Sometimes you forget. I forgot some of the principles that I've taught for a number of years on how to keep our joints healthy. And so I went back in. I released a book earlier this year called Cracking Heaven's Code, God's System for Restoring Abundant Health. And one of the sections in that book is on joint health, how to keep our joints healthy. What do you do if something's going wrong? And it's got a whole system in there. And it's based on principles. And once you understand the principles for how your body works, you can restore your body back to where you hopefully don't have pain. Now, as of recording this right now, I'm not back all the way to 100%, but I'm getting pretty close. It was, you know, I was waking up and I was having so stiff and a lot of pain in the morning, could barely move, could barely do stuff. As the day went on, it would progressively get better, but my wife's like, "You need to do something about this. You need to get this fixed." And progressively got it better. I'm back to where I can do almost everything again. The only thing I haven't quite gotten back just yet is my strength on some of the main lifts, like squats and deadlifts and things like that. But that won't be too long and come in, I don't think, either. But it's taken a little while to kind of get back. It's taken about 2 months to kind of get all the way back. But some of that was I wasted about a month of time because I forgot some of the principles that I'm about to show you here. And I actually learned a couple of new things throughout the process about how our backs work. So if you're having back or hip pain, this is going to help you, okay? And I kind of made a commitment, said when I come out of this, I'm going to teach people how to do this. I kind of made a commitment, you know, I'm going to learn how to fix this, and I'm going to help a whole bunch of other people fix this as well. I'm going to try to help 1 million people fix their backs if that's the case. So some principles you need to know. Number one, first thing I did not stop working out. I continued to work out. In fact, the day I heard it, I actually wouldn't normally have worked out that night, but I actually did some mobility and some workout that very night, and actually started to accelerate the healing process, I think, a little bit in that process. But I continued to do stuff, but I kind of used pain as my guide. If something hurt, okay, then I wouldn't go into that range of motion. I wouldn't do that movement, whatever it was. So in my workouts, I did cut out a few movements temporarily. I cut out some things like kettlebell swings and deadlifts and back squats and a few of these things temporarily, but then I've gradually started to add them back in as I could handle them. So we typically let your body tell you, let pain kind of be your guide. If something really hurts, then don't do it. We need to build up your range of motion and your strength ultimately back up in those movements so that you can do them again and not have pain. But one of the primary principles I forgot. Back when I was in college, I was doing something before bed every night that helped me have one of the best years I've had as far as success in baseball. But I actually think It can help you have the best year in a lot of other ways, in your health, in a lot of other things, in your emotions, in your thinking, which is I was stretching before bed every night, and I forgot that, okay? I was doing a lot of mobility work. I was very consistent doing my mobility routine every single day, but I was not doing the static stretching and the regular flexibility training that you need to really enhance the mobility training. What happened was I noticed when I started to go back and do some regular flexibility work that I had become much tighter. So one simple thing, after every single workout, make sure you stretch, okay? It prepares you for the next workout that you're about to do the next time, helps you to recover and open the body back up, because when you work out, your body tends to want to tighten up a little bit. Open the body back up, and before bed every single night, stretch, okay? I'll put a link somewhere on here where you will see the stretching routine that I've been doing, but stretch before bed. It will help you sleep better, it will help your joints feel better, it will open up your body and increase the amount of potential that you can tap into in your body, because you can activate more of your body when you can get it more open. But stretch after workouts, stretch before bed. That was one of the first things that I started doing. But then the other part of this was having an understanding of how the muscles that are surrounding the back actually work. And so I'm gonna got a little diagram here. We're gonna focus on two primary muscle groups here. Is we have your hip flexors, also called the psoas muscle, okay? You have the hip flexors right in the front of your hip here. What a lot of people don't realize is that this muscle right in the front of your hip, so think of the muscle you use when you do like a hanging leg raise, that you pull your knees up towards your chest, or when you're running and you pull your knees up. It's a lot of that is activating this muscle right here in the front. And so this muscle actually goes all the way up and it connects into the middle of your back. It connects right to your spine. It's the muscle that actually connects the majority of your lower body to your spine, okay? And so when you feel pain in your back, a lot of that is coming from the hips. Now, one of the primary principles we need to talk about, we talk about in the book, is that your muscles are like shock absorbers, okay? Your muscles just open and close. And if you can't get the muscle open, then you can't get the range of motion, you can't develop strength, you can't do all these things, and the muscle's not working like it should. If it can't open, then you need to develop that ability to get it open. So the first muscle group that I focused on was the hip flexors, the psoas muscles that connect right up into the spine. Now, an interesting thing that happens, so those are on the front of your body, okay? You'll feel them right underneath your abs and kind of to the outside of your abs, right in the front of your hips, and they go all the way up right into your, connecting right onto your spine, really. And then the other muscle group is your traps. Okay, so you think of the muscles right up here on top of your shoulders. These trap muscles here, they come down from your head. They connect your head to your body, okay? And the trap muscles come down like this, but then they also continue down, and they actually connect almost right onto that same vertebrae that these hip flexors are connecting to, okay? So you have this triangle, almost diamond-shaped pattern. The traps come out here, and then they end up coming back down right to the spine here, and then right back down here, you have the hip flexors. Everything comes right to that point, okay? So the number one thing we got to do is we got to get these hip flexors, develop the ability to be open first, okay? Develop our ability to get them open, which means we'll talk about what to do here in a second. I got to be able to get them open, and then I need to develop their strength and the fitness inside of those muscles as well. And I need to do the same thing up here as well. So I got to get these guys open, got to work on this whole thing all the way from the neck down into the spine, all here. If I can get this triangle open. Now this one, one of the other concepts we talk about in the book is that the body is full of balancing pairs. Okay, this pair and this pair are balancing pairs. When I make adjustments into this one, I'm going to automatically get a rebound effect on this side. That's the way the body's set up. And when I make adjustments here, it's going to have a rebound effect on this side. This one is on the back of the body, so I think my traps going down my back are in the back of my body. So they're going to come out to the shoulder, and then they're going to go down kind of on the inside of my shoulder blade, down and connecting into the spine here. And so what do? First step, we got to get the muscles open. So we have to do some getting the fascia to release is the first step. And so you have this fascial tissue. It's like a web stuff, like the webbing that you see on meat, like on a pot roast. You have that surrounding your muscles. We got to get that open first. A lot of times it gets knots or adhesions in the muscle. So like when you think of you get a massage and they find a spot that's really tender, those are those knots or adhesions. It's places where the muscle is sticking together and not allowing the muscle to open. And so what do? First one is you lay on your back, and you lay flat on your back, okay? And you work on, when you lay flat on your back, you pull your knees up where your feet are laying flat on the floor, your knees are up in the air, and we are working on getting these guys open is the first one, okay? What we're gonna do is you're normally gonna have an arch in the lower back when you lay down flat like that. And you are going to work on pressing that arch down flat to the ground, okay? But what you're gonna do is you can use your hand to do it. You can use, I should have brought it in here with me. You can use a lacrosse ball. You can use, my favorite thing is what's called the jelly bean. You go to infinitykinetics.com. It's a guy that used to be a trainer here for us. He invented these things. They work great for releasing this tissue in your body. It's called a jelly bean, and basically I just push on it like massage with this jelly bean, and I pull my abs up, and then I flatten everything back down to the floor. And one of the other things is that your diaphragm, where you breathe from, is right up in this region as well. And so when you can synchronize your breath with this, it helps to open all of this up as well, okay? So I would take a deep breath in as I expand my abs up, and then exhale, push them back flat to the floor. And at the same time, I'm applying some pressure onto the muscle with either my hands or this jelly bean thing or a lacrosse ball. And as I'm doing that, I'm kind of stripping the muscle back open and free. And at first, this was hard for me to do. I would feel some discomfort. It would feel really tight when I would do it. And then the other thing I would do is I would take that jelly bean thing or a lacrosse ball or tennis ball or massage stick or something, and I would work this whole thing. I want to get it open. So I would start at the base of my neck, put a little bit of pressure, and I would do some movement while I have some pressure on it here. I'll put the jelly bean there, I'll put my fingers there, and add some movement. The movement with the pressure helps to open the muscles back up. Then I would work down the traps, then I would work down between the shoulder blades all the way down into here, and working on opening that thing up. Now when I first did this, my right, so you're going to find that the body is like a slingshot. It's got diagonal effects. So it was my right hip flexor and my left shoulder right up in here. Okay, so if you look in a diagonal pattern, it was almost exactly in the same spot, just on the opposite side, like a mirror image. Right here was really tender when I would do rolling it on that jelly bean, and right here in my hip on this side, okay, kind of right about in this region on both sides, was really tender on both sides. As I released one, the other one felt better. As I released this one felt better, and vice versa. But I want to work both of them. I want to work the whole thing, but I want to work both of those sides particularly. So I would do those first to get the tissue opened up, and then I would stretch. I would do some more of those reps, and then I would go through the evening stretching routine or the post-workout stretching routine or some mobility work or whatever it was, and I'll post a link to the evening stretching routine that I was doing. But the first step was to get the tissue opened up, and then I can stretch it more effectively. Okay, then I can stretch it more effectively. Now, was it instant? No, but I got some relief kind of pretty instantly right away. Not all of it gone away, but day by day, as I started to do this, it get better and better and better and better. And you wake up in the morning, you feel less stiff, you can do more in your workouts, you can do more and more. Started to do this. Now the next step for me is I still have some work to do, is I got to restore the strength back to be able to handle, to absorb more force, to be able to handle the strength in the main lifts and some of those other movements. I have to restore the strength back. So I've got the muscles open now where I can absorb some force. Now I got to restore the strength and the ability to absorb more force in those muscles. Now the other part of this is that right on the outside of your hip, on the outside here, kind of in your glutes and on the outside of the hip, you had some tightness in there as well. You can take a lacrosse ball, that jelly bean, some kind of massage right on the outsides of your hips as well. That will tend to help quite a bit. But this is a formula. These two muscle groups are like the core of your back. Okay, the traps and the hip flexor psoas muscles are the core, and they are a balancing pair. They work. One's on the front, one's on the back, one's on the top, one's on the bottom, and they are a balancing pair that effectively work to keep your spine healthy and keep your spine balanced. This is one of the coolest new things that I've learned. If we can master this combo here, we can make your back feel tremendously better. So I hope this helps you. If you know somebody that's hurting, share this with them. I would happy to help. You can send me an email, send me a message. I'm happy to help. Share this with them. Let's get everybody feeling better, because like I said, when you're in pain, it is no fun.